Aerospace at the breaking point. How the International Aerospace Quality Group, ANAB, Boeing, and Airbus turned oversight into a global liability. Ladies and gentlemen, aviation professionals, regulators, and members of the public, my name is Daryl Guberman, a recognized quality expert with more than 40 years in aerospace, medical, and industrial compliance. I come before you today because the global aerospace industry, Boeing, Airbus, IAQG, NADCAP, and the accreditation bodies beneath them, has reached a point where failure is no longer theoretical. It is engineered into the system, ladies and gentlemen. On September of 2025, I warned Airbus Senior Vice President Litigation Investigation, Carl Hennessy, directly about quality deficiencies that mirror the very collapse I have spent decades documenting at Boeing. My letter detailed the deep entanglement between Airbus, the IAQG, and NADCAP systems that, while presented as guardians of global aerospace safety, have become ceremonial gatekeepers, not independent oversight authorities. Carl Hennessy's response was polite but very revealing. Safety concerns everyone and is not a competitive position in aviation. Listen to that one. Safety concerns everyone and is not a competitive position in aviation. A statement that inadvertently exposed the problem. When safety is not competitive, it is often becomes non-existent. When responsibility is shared by everyone, it becomes enforced by no one. The IAQG web and the origin of the OASIS problem. To understand why we are here, we must go back to 2003 when ANAB created the OASIS database, the Online Aerospace Systems Information System. OASIS became the backbone of aerospace certification, but what the public was not told is this. OASIS was run by the International Aerospace Quality Group. IAQG itself was in that era approximately 65% controlled by Boeing. Suppliers could not refuse to be entered into the database or pay database fees. If they did, they would get their certificate taken away. Yet the very companies controlling OASIS, like Boeing, were never required to meet the same certification standards they imposed on their own suppliers. Boeing's 23-year avoidance of AS9100. On June 27, 2024, in a Reuters interview article, Elizabeth Lund, Boeing's Vice President of Quality, stated publicly that Boeing was willing and prepared to obtain AS9100 certification. But in October 2024, I personally went out to Everett, Renton, Auburn, and Northfield. Speaking with approximately 300 to 600 Boeing employees, I spent almost a month out there. Not a single worker could tell me what AS9100 was. Not one person could explain an internal audit process. So Boeing's public statement of being willing and prepared was nothing more than a headline, an illusion of compliance. The truth is that Boeing has avoided AS9100 certification for over 23 years, while simultaneously requiring its suppliers to be certified under ANAB or foreign equivalent bodies, including accreditation systems, Iran, Pakistan, and China, a double standard with global safety implications. Airbus, repeating Boeing's mistakes. I warned Airbus in September that their quality posture mirrors Boeing's. And today, Airbus faces its own crisis. Quality concerns affecting approximately 6,000 A320 series aircraft, specifically in the avionics system architecture. Issues now requiring urgent attention. These are not isolated defects. These are system defects. Failures born from the same culture that has infected IAQG, NADCAP, Boeing, and now Airbus. The common denominator is this: oversight bodies overseen by the very organizations they are meant to regulate. The FAA delegation crisis. The FAA's decision to grant sweeping self-certification authority to Boeing in aircraft and its technologies and design created one of the most dangerous precedents in aviation history. Systems such as MCAS, which contributed 346 deaths in two 737 MAX crashes, were certified under an environment where FAA inspectors were Boeing employees and they were paid by Boeing. Oversight became advisory, not authoritative. Regulation became a partnership, not a safeguard. When the regulator becomes financially entangled with the entity being regulated, the CEO of Boeing, the company, becomes, in effect, the administrator of the FAA. Industry-wide complacency is now a global hazard. The letters exchanged with Airbus show the same reflective reassurance that has plagued Boeing for years. A belief that participation in committees equals oversight and that membership equates to safety. The aerospace community has replaced verification with committees instead of consequences, frameworks instead of findings, membership instead of measurement. This is why defects are no longer caught, they are built in. This is why quality breakdown sped first in America, now in Europe to Airbus. And this is why the public is right to be concerned. Yes, you do. A call to action. Airbus, Boeing, IAQG, NADCAP, ANAB, and the FAA must face a truth that no longer fits in a press release. Oversight has failed, and consequences are already airborne. A call on Airbus and all global aerospace leaders to recognize that the real competitive edge in aviation is not production speed, not market share, not committee participation. It is uncompromising safety rooted in independent verification. I ask Carl Hennessy once again, meet with me. 7 business days, December 9th, 2025. Video conference, no boilerplate, no ceremony, just facts, accountability, and transparency. Because if the world does not address these failures now, the next disaster will not be a surprise. It will be a statistical certainty. A statistical certainty. 203-556-1493. I thank you.